Welcome back, everybody. Let's do some drawing. So today I wanted to draw a little creature from an old game that we play around with behind the scenes, and we started putting some art on the Patreon, and we were doing it, and I forgot how much I loved this little world of Drudea, and I just fancy doing a little bit more today. And the best thing about it is because the art is a little bit less complicated, and it's a much more gentle like game. The art style was easier to draw and just a little bit quicker, and I just thought, yeah, let's do that today. That would be nice. Plus I've got the sniffles, so I thought something nice and relaxing would be the best way to go about it. So I hope you enjoy this one. So it's a little game called Drudea, and the whole premise of it was a semi-cooperative, I suppose, game where you are little creatures, little people, and the whole thing is just going around exploring this little, like, druidish world, and there's lots of magic and items and things like that nature, and you have to gather as much as you can, as quick as you can, to do better than your other semi-allies, and fight off a creature called Grud, this big, ugly troll. No offense to trolls, but he was an ugly bugger. So that's kind of it, actually. It was very basic, and it was a tile placement game, and you start off in this little place called the market, and yeah, you go off and you just try and gather as much as you can, bring it back to the market to sell, and there'll be like a sort of a trading system. There's 6 characters. Well, I think there's 6 characters. Well, there was 6 characters, and then one of the characters called Bookworm. I never really liked him, so he's gone now. And the other day I was watching a documentary about Pangolia? Something? Anyway, it's just a very cute little creature, and I've always had a thing for anteaters. I just thought they were adorable creatures, and I thought, I wonder how a giant sort of one would do in this world. So that's this character, and each character in the game would have a couple of benefits and just make them ever so slightly to play than the other characters. And this character, because I imagine kind of anteaterish, probably be very good at finding bugs. So if you go to it's not very good. If you go to a certain tile that has the bug icon, and you can gather, it will say you can roll 2 dice for this, see how many you got. I think this creature would just find a few more than the other type of characters. So you've got a little bit more of a push for a certain direction of how you want to play this one. And it's very similar to, there was an old druid, and if you go over to Patreon, you'll see these fully colored ones, because they don't really fit with the game that we're doing here on, YouTube. But if you want to see them, they're on there. Yeah, just a little bit different, really. Thought that was quite cool. But yeah, the old druid, he could place what they called like a little mushroom circle, and instead of having to go back and find mushrooms in different parts, you can actually set up your own little, essentially like a little garden. It's not very well done, and I just thought it was quite cool. And I guess this is kind of a little bit similar. You can find loads of bugs and trade them. So yeah, that's kind of it. So yeah, enough about that. I'll just say what sort of drawing on. I was going to draw just this big furry chap, but I wanted to give him like a little bit of a coat in case he got cold. So he's got this little tarp, over the top of him, and I guess that kind of serves somewhat like armor. So I just thought it was kind of cute, and that's kind of the whole thing. Yeah, That's kind of it, actually. Yeah. So I'm distracted because it's raining and somewhat of a pluviophile. Big fan of rain. So, yeah, I'm just enjoying the soft splattering outside. I'm drawing a little creature, and I imagine he quite likes the rain as well, because all the worms come up and he's like, ooh. What else about the game? Yeah, made this, I think originally made it in a day, just had these little ideas for these silly little characters and a magic system of gathering enough cards and mana, and you had to be on certain tiles to be able to cast certain types of spells, and it was all very much opportunity sort of based, which was fun, but it never really felt quite right, quite finished. And I got to the stage of printing everything, and actually used to play quite a bit with my partner, and we used to just laugh because the whole thing is just kind of setting up your opponents to fail, and it was just a really annoying game, but like in a fun way. So yeah, who knows? Maybe, I think if anything, this is a print and play game, and maybe that's what will come on to the Patreon at some point. We'll do a print and play. And actually, it might be nice for a little playthrough on the old YouTubes as well. So who knows? Maybe that will be a thing. I think it should be a thing. Because the Wastes game, the Dark Fantasy one, excuse me, the Dark Fantasy one, that's such a mission to complete. There's so much there to do, but I mean, this game's kind of done. I do need to rework the tiles and the world system, but other than that, I mean, it's ready to rock and roll, really. So maybe in the very near future, we might have to do a little print and play version of the game and just see how we do. Because it would be fun, actually. It's a very chilled game. It's not particularly frustrating, but a few things have changed since we originally did it, so we'd have to kind of figure out the new tile systems in the world and how it all works. Yeah. But if that sounds something you would like to see, let me know. It'd be a nice little blast from the past, I think. He's got these like long, bony like fingers, like claws, but I think he's going to be a very much a pacifist. So you have a little thumb. Yeah, you have a little thumb, can you? Do a little thumb here. Yeah, good for digging. So I imagine when they forage, you sort of imagine how each character forages slightly different, and I imagine he just digs away. Makes a nice little hole and very messy. How's that? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's so much quicker to do these sorts of, style. I guess it's not. I guess it is my style, but even when doing it, it feels strange, like I'm doing someone else's style of drawing, of doodling. But sometimes you just want to have that sort of more relaxing pace. Go to. And plus, this way of drawing, I'm only drawing for an hour or two rather than for days on one character, because still need to go back to Herloff. I keep going back and then I get distracted by something else, and I'm like, oh, we haven't done that yet. Oh, you know what, we should do some more traditional, because we haven't played with that for a bit. But it is coming, and apologies if anyone's waiting for that one in particular. If so, let me know and we'll get that done sooner rather than later. And another little claw. I'll leave a little gap there in case we need to add anything, and another little claw there. That's like the bigger claw of the two. Oh. Bloop. I did it again. What? Yeah, sweet. How's that? And yeah, what else can I say? Yeah, it's a cute little game. do my own little print and play today, just to see what it's like and have a little play around. I got a bit of work later, so this is why we're doing it a little bit earlier than usual. So once I've done my work, I will come back and re-explore this world. Oh no, I forgot the thumb. Where's the thumb going to go? The thumb could be underneath, I think. And then when my partner has a bit of time, she'll do the colours, get all the colours just right for me and tell me where things go. Because I like doing the shade, and that's my thing. I like that. I'll do some little chin hairs. Yeah, that'd be cute. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then be able to do some colouring. Like I've talked about in the past, I'm terrible at choosing colours and where they go, and colour theory blows my mind. It's just something that doesn't come natural, and as much as I looked into it and tried to understand it, I just don't get it. It's just one of those things. I think it's kind of funny, actually. But fortunately, that's taken care of, so hopefully we can get this one done relatively quick. Like I said, it's very different from the other characters we've done digitally on here. Cool. Do something. I suppose this as well as it's meant to be like a tarp, but in my head it has sort of the same sort of thickness and sort of density as like a shell of some sort, like a little carapace. There we go. So yeah, I think that looks alright. I'm trying to remember how I do the original characters from Drudea, so hopefully I sort of got the right amount of detail per square inch sort of thing, because otherwise it won't fit with the other character. But yeah, if you want to have a look at this little, go away. If you want to have a look at the other characters, pop on over to Patreon. There are a few there. And if you'd like to subscribe, it'd be amazing. And our first little tier of people very kindly follow us, we'll get free PDFs of all these characters. You can just download them if you want to. You don't have to. I think there should be a little shell, shouldn't there? That's quite cute there. Maybe. I don't know, we'll come back to that if we need to. Sorry, itchy nose. Right, and then do some lovely little fur bits. Doesn't need to be perfect whatsoever. Yeah. And this is going into his foot. And then a bit more fur. Like that. I'm just mindful of the amount of shading and highlights I have to do after doing fur of any type. It makes more work for myself later, but I have to be a little bit aware of it. Otherwise, could be here for a long old time doing the colouring. It's quite cute. Little spiky toes. I imagine this character very slow walking, but very sweet. What else can I talk about Drudea? Originally, the whole concept of the game was drawn on the wall of one of the rooms in the house. All in pencil. Couldn't find any paper, and the walls are white, and they needed a little bit of a clean anyway, so yeah, the original version of the game drawn in one day. I think it was all planned in one day. It was all done on the walls of this one room, which I still look back and think that's very funny. Not so much painting afterwards. Oops. Okay. Yeah, that's quite cute. Not sure what to put here. Maybe just more fur. Not too much, just a nice tuft. Like so. Another little bit there. There we go. Nice. Yeah, I just wanted something nice and peaceful and chill today, and yeah. Yeah, that's cute. I like that. Oh, he's doing really well. Sorry, you ever draw sometimes and think, oh no, I hope it turns out well, but sometimes that actually does, and it's always nice to see. I'm just hoping, because I haven't drawn the sort of the characters for a while, I really hope I've got the same sort of style, and I haven't undershot the amount of details, because in my head there wasn't much detail, but I could be wrong, Could be a plethora of details, who knows? And then this will be like a little potion bottle holder on the side of the bag, and in typical me fashion, everyone has bags in this game. It's not so much as the dark fantasy sci-fi game that we're working on in the background about storage and whatnot. This is more, well, storage and survival. This is more about just the storage, and everything will be followed with just dice, and if it's a print and play, as long as you've got cardboard and a couple of dice laying around, I think you're fine. I'm going to do like a little bit of a ruffled bit for the bag, so it kind of looks a bit more maybe handmade, rather than bought at some, Billy's Bags Emporium. Nothing like that. What else can I say? Oh yeah, so it's a tile-based game, and the world isn't too big, but the movement of characters is quite minimum. So, you have 2 actions per turn, so I guess that's 1 to move, 1 to forage, or 1 to interact, or 1 to attack. And there will also be reactions. So if you're unlucky enough to gain Grud's attention, then I guess you'll have to react to use a spell or an item to block the attack or deflect it onto another, or reduce the damage slightly. However you want to deal with the situation, or simply hide. Yeah. Oh, listen to that rain. So nice. Right. What's going on here? I forgot. That's fine. I'll make it up. I will probably go over it afterwards and just add some shade in throughout. I just need to double check that the style is right before I start adding any deeper tones of shadows and shade. Nice. What else can we do? Oh, we got a little strap here, but let's do almost like vines. Maybe rope. It's old tattered rope we'll do. That's nice. Always looks a bit more interesting than just simply a strap of leather. Mind you, leather can look very beautiful once you've shaded it just right. Unless anyone has any, excuse me, unless anyone has any tips or tricks about drawing leather and making it feel a bit more alive, then please let me know. I'd love to hear. Oh, I just realised what I've done here, so I need to maybe go back a little. Oh, that's way too big. I'm going to take this away. Oh, that could be a strap. No, that's fine. That's fine. It's more like armor, just, I don't want, plus I don't want him getting wet, he needs a little bit of shelter from the rain or the snow. Oh, that's another bit I forgot. So at the start of each turn, well, the start of each day or night, you'll draw a world card and it will say, oh, there's a big storm tonight or something, and, you have to sort of make sure you're wrapped up warm, because if you're, potentially, I think one of the rules, if you're at the edge of the board and it was, was it raining, you'd get knocked off the board, and then it would cause you to have to use a whole turn to get back on. Things like that. So you have to be kind of aware as well of when the weather's coming, and there was different ways of actually finding out what was going to happen with the weather. So, you could have like, a weather wand that would tell you and only you what kind of weather is going to be the next day. So if you wanted to push well, it's not really ally, but one of the other players off to the side, and then, it was just different ways that you can interact with other players, and, feels less hostile, but secretly is. Cool. Actually, I'll put that underneath the rope. I think that'll look better. I'll finish the rope there. Nice. Cool. Cool. Oh, that's looking quite cute. Yeah, so what's everyone been drawing? Anything nice? Or any painting, or read anything like a nice fantasy book, or any book in general, actually? Oh, speaking of books, I feel really random, it just seems very random today, but I wrote a book last year. It was just a little children's book, and it's been living on KDP for Amazon for best part of a year now, and every now and again I get another sample booklet just to go through and, and change a little bit here and a little bit there and add a little bit, different chapters. And it's just one of those living books that haven't quite, found the right place for it. But I was thinking about doing like a little read through of it. It's not the best book by chance. I'm not much of a writer, but I was thinking about doing a little, what's it called? I suppose like a little read through, little audiobook thingy. Don't know, we can put this on this channel, but it might be a bit random on our channel to have some random dude reading a book. But then again, maybe it would work, I'm not sure. You can always put on the Patreon so it's not too confusing and just too much random stuff in one place, That's my thought anyway. That might not be true. But yeah, if you want to hear a little story, let me know. Do some little stitching. It's a bit of a blank bit here, so I thought some stitchy bits would look good. Lots of little stitches, a little bit of leather. How are we doing for time? I'm surprised that the pen hasn't died yet. It said 4 or 5% a little while ago, but fortunately I think this pen has had better days, and I'm not sure how long it has left to draw, but hopefully a little bit longer. A little bit of tension there, a little bit of movement. I'm not really sure about that. I'll come back to these things. And then we'll have one last stitch here. It's kind of showing that it's going off the page, as well as the bit that's getting stitched. Actually, we might need to have one more here, just a little bit, just to show that, you know, the stitching's heading off. A few little details, nothing too much. There's quite a lot of blank space, isn't it? We have to figure out what we're going to do. Might be a little pattern or something. You know what? Let's make up a little pattern. I like the idea of that. It's quite sweet. Don't know what it says and its language, but or it might just be a cute little pattern. Do we like it? Oh, I think so. Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll figure out what's going to go there at a later time. At the moment, it's not needed. Some little signs of, you know, the clothing interacting with the fur. Just ever so slightly, not too much. And, you know, a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of moss or something. Yeah, feels like this creature would have a little bit of moss or maybe an algae growing on it. Nice. Okay, how are we doing? 27 minutes. You know, this might be a first for us, and I might be calling a little bit too early, but we might even finish this drawing in one session. Imagine that. That'd be a first for this channel, wouldn't it? Can you imagine? Whole drawing completed. My goodness. Right, and we'll put a little bit of a border on this leather bit. A little bit of movement. And that'll be fun. Does that need a second bit there? I don't think so. Bit of a strange shape of armor / leather. But it's quite cute, I think. Does this work? This bit? This bit feels a bit messy, but I can always come back to that later on. And we'll do a few more of those little chunky bits that I did earlier, just so we have a little bit of continuity in the drawing. Plus it might take up a bit more space and not look so samey as the rest of it with the fur. And there we go, that's nice. I really like this as well, that you can see what I'm doing, you know, and sort of far away, because I'm very aware, and someone was actually kind enough to say, you know, it's a bit hard to track what you're up to. So, good advice. So now we have this little bit that, you know, shows what's going on in the full picture, rather than just this very close up doodliness. Right. Cool. Oh no, we add another little bit there. There we go. Make it up as I go along, but I think that's the best way sometimes. Oh, that's really cute. Oh, I like that. We do little tiers of that, because I think that looks really cool, actually. We'll come back to this bit in a second. And then I've sort of, is that like cloth I've done? No, should it be cloth, or should it be like this armor bit? I think we continue this armor bit, and I think here I've drawn, how's that looking like? I'll do another little bit like that. And sort of the little creased bit at the bottom of the leather, like so. And then we will draw some sort of little rune thing here. I feel like this would be a wise creature. There we go. too extravagant or fancy, just, you know, just a little bit of movement, you know. I think this one needs to interact with that one because it looks a bit flat at the moment. So if we do this, there we go. And just sort of encroach ever so slowly on the symbol. So make sure it looks like it's behind and not anything else. We'll put a little circle there. Why not? Lovely. Lovely jubbly. And we'll put a few more little bits and pieces there. Try not to make it too messy, but we still want enough going on that it feels interesting and alive. I'm going to do a few more of these little bits. Like so. And some swirly whirlies. Like that. And one going that way. Lovely, look at that. You know, I might be tempting fate, but by now the boiler's normally chatting away. So, it's pretty good at the moment. There's the sound of the rain. And some chap rambling away about things that no one really knows what he's on about, including him. He's doing well. Oh, I really like that. It's kind of, I'm not sure, it's got a different sort of feel from the other characters, I feel like. Maybe, probably comes from a different part, right? That would make sense. And then another bag here. Oh, there we go. And we put one of those, like, sticks that are sort of the holding the bag firm. Like that. I'll do a little round bit here. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense, I think. That's not very well done at all. Let's do that. There we go. That's sort of holding the bag. And then a few little bits and pieces. The edge of the bag. Yeah, I will come over and do lots of ink, and I feel there's lots of little bits I can get a little bit of shadow and shade in. Very cool. Right, just do a few little bits and pieces. Nothing too much, just give it a bit more individuality. So I want everyone that is in this little game world to feel unique. You know, and not just, and you could think, oh yeah, they look very similar. No, I want them to all feel different. That's quite cute. I like the little bump as well. It just gives a little bit more. Oh yeah, it's quite cute. Right, and then the last little bit, I suppose it will have to be another little bit of leather just to continue with this theme we'll go in with. This almost like leather armor like thing. We'll come around here. We don't need that bit. And do we do this on top of the fur? Or do we just do fur now? I think it would continue with this, wouldn't it? So we'll do another little emblem. Just do it like that. And then have another bit in the middle. And this is a strange rune. Yeah, but a little bit individual, isn't it? Have to see what sort of colours my partner decides for the runes itself. I'm thinking this carrot would be quite, you know, greens and sort of natural. But I don't know. Might even be like yellows and oranges, or maybe more sepia. I'm not sure. Like I said, I really struggle with actually, you know, seeing the vision for characters, the colours and stuff. Especially of their clothing. Okay, so this one I wonder if they should be really big, these little flicky bits. Not sure. You know what? I think I'm just going to go straight to the fur. I think. I can always come back to it if I think I've made a mistake later, but I don't think I have. I think this is the right call. But if you're watching now and thinking, oh no, that definitely needed the, this little bit for continuity, then give me a shout. I'd like to know what other people think as well. Multiple minds are better than one. Especially the one drawing that has no idea what they're doing. Oh, no, can't do that. That's better. Okay. And then, so originally it was going to have like a big long, like giant anteater like tail. And then I was playing around and I did a little rat one and we were like, oh yeah, that's cuter actually. So let's do that. Apologies for anyone that is like, ugh, rats are cute. Rats are cute. I think so anyway. Not these giant ones from Ninja Turtles. They were scary. Just like a little rat. Cool. Nice. How's that? A little bit of, what were we talking about before? What was it? I forgot now. Not fungi. A little bit of moss. Yeah, a little bit of moss is quite sweet. Does it need anything here? I feel like it does. Maybe another little bag or maybe just a bit of fur. Yeah, it just felt like it needed something here. There we go. That's fine. Nice. Yeah, that's better. I felt like it just needed something. Still need to do the stitch and figure this bit out. But it might be symbols or something, I'm not sure. And then a nice, big, long, lumpy tail. We don't want it being too uniform. We'll sort of go how we feel with the shape of it and the lines and just have a little play with it. And it's okay to be a little bit bumpy and, strange shaped. That's okay. It's a strange little creature. There we go. There we go. And here we have a couple of lines just to show the curve. Nice. And we still got, it's quite a weird little tail, isn't it? Oh, it is. Again, none of this is done for definite. If we feel later on, it's not quite right, we'll change it. But having somewhat of a nearly completed character, nearly being the key word here, it's a pretty good place to stop. So now we're going to add the little rings, because I think that's important. And this is where we can put some color and make him even more unique. I'll do a little ring here as well, so it's not all the same shape. And then here as well. Like that. And then one last one here. Like that. That is all right, isn't it? I don't know, should he have little hairs? I think so. Little hairs. Every now and again, not too many, just... Oh, that's cute. So yeah, I I don't think I said everything about this character. So there's different terrains in the game. You got like meadows, you've got woodlands, all sorts of places like that. And there's a big part of it is about hiding, keeping away from Grud, the big nasty troll. And because he's kind of low to the ground, I thought he'd be really good at hiding in the forest. Or maybe meadows. I think meadows was the one I was thinking about. Because that way, you know, you've got a little bit of a way that you've kind of not been pushed, but advised to play. So, you know, go looking for bugs. You can get more bugs. So if you're lucky, you'll get more bugs. And then, you know, on top of that, if you want to stay safe, because hiding's quite difficult, you need to either be at the tavern, which is only one tile in the game, and it's about 24 tiles, I think, or 23, I forget the number. So there you can stay the night if you have a little bit of coin. So you have to, there's a little bit of a monopoly in there as well. But if you don't stay there, you have to kind of find tall grass to hide in. Unfortunately, there is a character called Goat, and Goat likes to eat the tall grass. So if you're relying on just just hiding in tall grass, and you've got a player playing Goat, you have to be really careful, because they might just go around and be like, ooh, nice little bit of grass there, nom nom nom. And then you have no chance of hiding. So I think with that, because yeah, it makes sense, this character would be really good at just sort of laying down in a meadow and looking like, you know, just a piece of grass, really. Yeah, that's what you can do. Does that make any sense, what I just said? Sometimes I speak and I generally have no idea what I said afterwards and think, what did I say? Did that make sense? Was that what I was trying to talk about? I don't know. I think that's fine. Look at that. I think we're done, other than this bit up here. So I don't know what we should do. We could just do this sort of thing. You know, little marks and... That's quite cute. Can't believe the pen hasn't died yet. And the boiler hasn't gone off, and I've almost stayed on track what I was talking about. Wow. Maybe I am becoming more professional. Maybe not. Right, that, I think, would do us proud. We'll take away the background, and there we go. There's a lovely little meeple. Meeple? No, Meep. That's their name, Meep. Let me put it down a little bit so it's not coming off the board. Nice, there we go. It's got little bags, got this little bit of armor going all the way, keeping them safe from the world and Grud, the nasty troll. If you'd like to see more of this character and coloured, then pop on over to the Patreon. And maybe in the very near future, we might have to do a playthrough, even if it's kind of shabby in print and play. Though currently we don't have a printer, so that might be a little bit more tricky. But I think we're good there, aren't we? Where's this other foot? I think it'll be hidden anyway. Yeah, I think that's fine. Can we go over here? No, it wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, so we'll leave it as that. Right, thank you very much for joining me. Wow, I finished the whole drawing in one. Yes. Right. Hope you enjoyed this one. You all take care. Bye-bye.